त्वद्गोपुराग्रशिखराणि निरीक्षमाणाः स्वर्गापवर्गपदवीं परमां श्रयन्तः मर्त्या मनुष्यभुवने मतिमाश्रयन्ते श्रीवेङ्कटाचलपते तव सुप्रभातम्। श्रीभूमिनायक दयादिगुणामृताब्धे देवाधिदेव जगदेक शरण्यमूर्ते श्रीमन्ननन्त गरुडादिभिरर्चिताङ्घ्रे श्रीवेङ्कटाचलपते तव सुप्रभातम्। श्रीपद्मनाभ पुरुषोत्तम वासुदेव वैकुण्ठ माधव जनार्दन चक्रपाणे श्रीवत्स चिह्न शरणागत पारिजात श्रीवेङ्कटाचलपते तव सुप्रभातम्।
Beautiful, very nice. त्वद्गोपुराग्र शिखराणि निरीक्षमाणाः स्वर्गा अपवर्ग पदवीं परमां श्रयन्तः मर्त्या मनुष्य भुवने मतिमाश्रयन्ते श्री वेंकटाचलपते तव सुप्रभातम्। त्वत् गोपुर अग्र शिखराणि. So this we know, those who have been to Tirupati and are familiar with this, they know that this Gopura Darshanam is very, very important. Okay? Even after we finish the main sanctum, we see main Balaji, we have this tradition of coming out and going to one particular place and looking at the Gopuram, the Vimanam, Pushpaka Vimanam of Venkateswara. So this particular verse is Tvat Gopura Agra Shikarani Nirikshamanaha. So he's talking about those the devotees who look at your Gopura and they contemplate on it. They think of the Nirikshamanaha means they look at it and then they think about all your glories. And what is this? Tvat means your. Gopura is that the tower. Gopura Agra Shikarani. The Shikara means the peak. Nirikshamanaha. They look at it and they pray that Swarga Apavarga Padavim Paramam Shrayantaha. So they pray that this seva that we get of Bhagavan is greater than Swarga or Apavarga. And we discussed the Swarga and Apavarga in the last session. We discussed at length. So there are devotees who do not even want liberation. So they're only looking to continue to do Kainkaryam to Bhagavan. So he's saying, and I look at that, my thoughts are all about this. I think that I want to keep serving you, O Lord. Swarga is the joys of the punya that you do. Apavarga is liberation from all of this. Moksha. So they don't want Swarga or Apavarga. They want Paramam Padavim, Paramam Shrayantaha. They're seeking, they're looking for, they're seeking refuge or seeking Ashraya. Ashrayante. Ashrayante means they seek refuge in you. Shrayantaha. On that which is beyond both of this. Which is what? Which is your service. Martya Manushya Bhuvane Matima Shrayante. So these are in this world of mortals. Martya Manushya Bhuvane. Martya means mortals. Those who die are mortals. So we're all mortals. In this Manushya Bhuvane, in this mortal world, my mind, Mati, is always at your ashraya. It is seeking your refuge. Matim ashrayante. My Mati or my intellect, my mind, my buddhi, all of that, my consciousness, my focus, my attention, it is seeking your refuge. Ashrayante. Shri Venkatachalapate Tava Suprabhatam. So quickly, just a few minutes on the Gopura itself, right? Now why is this Gopura very important? Is something that it is good to know some of this, because when we go and visit temples, it is also that bhava, when that bhavana is there, it'll help us to associate with this. See, the gopuras are usually built, if you look at a typical Dravida structure, okay, I'm talking about, so there are different kinds of temple structures. If you go to the north, you go to Puri Jagannath, you go to certain northern temples, you will see the gopura slightly different. Okay, but you come to in the Dravida architecture, the southern temples, the Chola architecture, which is mostly what you see predominant in the south. The gopura is a tapering pyramid-like structure, and it has it is like a go, like a cow, the horns of the cow on the top. You'll see like horns of the cow on either sides, and then you'll have kalasha in between. Okay, and pura means city, so this is like an entrance into the city. So this was, if you know some of this, the way these temples were built. The temples were built as an asylum, as a place for worship, and also as a place for the city to collect and come together for any kind of celebration, joyous occasions, or anything that happens in the city. The city or the town comes together into the temple, and also they seek refuge in the temple whenever there is attack in the city. If another kingdom or somebody comes and attacks, the kings and the soldiers, they go to fight out, but the rest of the people, the rest of the masses, they come and collect themselves, and they live in the temple precinct, temple area. So you see, typically there is one gopura in the center, which has the sanctum sanctorum, right? And then there are gopuras on the 4 cardinal points, which is north, south, west, east. Okay, so there are 4 gopuras that are there. They also have kalashas, and then there is a kalasha in the gopura in the center. So gopuras, one is, the idea is from a distance one should be able to look at the gopura, which is why the tower is built, so that from a distance people know where a temple is. Because the culture that was built around this period, 10, 11, 12 centuries, was a heavily temple-based culture that got built. See, much earlier was a Vedic culture where uh, there weren't temples really, but there was a lot of conducting of performance of yajnas and homas and all of that by the yajamana, or the kings of that kingdom or township. But later, when temple culture began, kings started building large temple structures, and they centered a lot of the town or their kingdom activities around the temple. So they wanted people to be able to see the temple, which is pretty much the center of their culture. And in fact, a lot of performances would happen, celebrations, performances will also happen in the temple, right? Even if you go to this, the Tanjavur Periya Kovil now, you will see there's a big stage that is built right besides the temple for people to come and perform, right? Natya or any kind of stage act and all of that. So this is a prevalent culture that got built during a few centuries, around the 10th to 12th century. And the idea was, from a distance, you're able to see the center of the township. The other thing is also important is that there are kalashas, right, at the top. These kalashas that were there at the top were essentially, um, um, these kalashas used to be uh, used to contain grains and millets and all of that. Okay. And what would the way it was done was, these kalashas were made in a certain metallic container, panchalokam or brass or something like that, so that and also coated with gold at times, so that it becomes a great conductor of energy. And so any natural occurrences like lightning and all of that also happens, these kalashas collect that energy and also transmit it down into the garbhagriha, right? So that is how the space within the garbhagriha is kept energized through some of these conductors on the top. And also the grains inside the kalasha are also energized. So these are grains or seeds that they keep, because if there is some kind of natural calamity or uh, um, flooding or famine or whatever happens, they have this available, or even wars that happen, and you're completely rid of or devoid of um, the whole kingdom is now ripped of its wealth and all of that. You still have some of this remaining as seeds, so that you can use the kalasha, the seeds from there, and start all over again. That is also another reason. Now, the way this is constructed was that this now has the energy of um, the devata in the garbhagraha. So there is this energy transaction between the kalasha and the garbhagraha devata. So whenever there is all of these abhisheka and archana and puja and Vedic mantras that were chanted to the devata here, it would also go into the kalasha, and likewise the energies that are there outside that get collected at the kalasha is also transmitted down to the devata. So this relationship between the kalasha in the gopuram and the devata existed, right? So which is why the nirikshamanaha, the looking at the gopura or the looking at the kalasha in itself is as auspicious as looking at the devata. From an energy standpoint, from an energy form, they both contain, they have a very close association of energy, the kalasha and the devata inside. So that is why this became, that the gopura became, the gopura darshanam became important, that you go and also look at the gopura, because you're looking at the kalasha, and there is, when you're looking at something, there is attention that is going to it, and there is an energy exchange. So when you're looking at the gopura and looking at the kalasha, you're also connecting with the deity that is inside. Can we think of the gopura as the Mahameru? Yes, it is in the structure of the Mahameru, right? Like a pyramidical structure. You're right. But one thing I'd say, that the dimensions of a Mahameru is different than of a tower or a gopura. The dimensions are different, but yes, from an idea, conceptually, you could consider it that way. The other interesting thing is, a lot of people were not allowed into the temples at that time, into the Garbhagriha, right? Because of the prevalent caste system and all of that, a lot of people were not allowed into the Garbhagriha. So this also gave them an opportunity to connect with the deity by the Gopura Darshanam. Right? By looking at the Gopura in the morning, they wake up and they look at the Gopura, and then it is as though they are worshipping the deity inside. So this is a bit of this thing on the Gopura. So here what Anna is saying, Pratyavadi Bhankaram Anna is saying, Tvat Gopuragra Shikarani Nirikshamanaha. So we look at your Gopura and we seek, we bring in this thought of surrender or refuge. In fact, in the if you go to Kumbakonam, places like Kumbakonam and all, where there are a lot of temples around, it's a temple city, right? Tanjavur, Kumbakonam and all, temple cities. You will just see Gopurams and Gopurams and Gopurams. So it's very nice if you go stay in that place when you get up in the morning. So we once we went and we stayed in a guest house or a hotel, which was on this. So we stayed on the second or the third floor. So from there we could actually see a lot of Gopurams. And then morning they play either Suprabhatam or Sahasranamam or something. They play early in the morning. So when you get up, it's a very beautiful sight. You see the Gopuram, and the first thought that comes to your mind is you bow down. You bow down to that form of divinity that is there, right? Purna Kalasha Swagat or Purna Kumbha Swagat is also a representation of utmost respect to anyone visiting place or temple. Yes, very right. What Raghu is saying. The Purna Kalasha is also not just on the Gopura, right? Kalasha is also something that you use in any homa or any ritual that you do in the household. A proper ritual that you do, if you remember, we always keep a kalasha in the center with a coconut that's pointing upwards, and then you keep the kalasha, and the kalasha is essentially a representation of, and there is tirtham inside the kalasha. So they put pachakalpuram, they put cardamom and things like that to make the water. There is a shloka, there is a verse here. Even PB Anna says, Ela lavanga ghanasara sugandhi tirtham divyam vyat sariti hemaghateshu purnam. Ela lavanga ghanasara sugandhi tirtham. So you make the tirtham as sugandha. It put elaka, lavangam and all of that, and pachakalpuram and all. And this kalasha in itself is the representation of the trinities, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and Shakti inside. So this kalasha is, the bottom of the kalasha is supposed to be Brahma, the throat of the kalasha is supposed to be Shiva, and the mouth of the kalasha is supposed to be Vishnu. And inside is supposed to be Shakti. So you have Shakti inside and you have Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu in the form of the kalasha. So this is how the kalasha is, and kalasha is a very important representation or symbolism of the of the divinity, of the cosmic principle. In olden days, everyone was not allowed to visit temples due to their commitments, hence Gopuram connected them with God. Yes. At any point in time, wherever you are in the township, you can look at the Gopuram and then connect. It's like the minara of the masjid, right? Masjid, I was walking down here the other day and I saw these minaras. The masjid has towers on the sides. It's very beautiful. The towers are for two purposes, right? One is also you can see the masjid from a distance. So that you can see it from a distance and know that there is a masjid there. And also people will go up to the top of the minar or the tower and do the azan, the call out for prayer 5 times a day. Right? That is also another reason why the minars were there. So these towers, and of course you didn't have tall, high rises in those times, right? You didn't have 40, 50 storied buildings. Now with so many buildings around, you can't see these temples or these masjids or minaras now. But those times when you didn't have so many high rises, these stood out as structures that connected people across the whole township, across the whole the whole vicinity there. Oh, Raghu is placed. Oh, very nice. Kalashyasya mukhe Vishnuhu. Correct. Kanthe Rudraha Samashritah. Mule Twasya Sthito Brahma. Madhye Matruganaha Smrataha. Very nice. Super, Raghu. So Kalashyasya mukhe Vishnuhu. So Vishnu, then Rudra or Shiva, and then in the Mula is Brahma, and then you have Shakti inside. So then that is the importance of Kalasha. So this Kalasha you connect with the Gopura that you connect with. So PB Anna is saying Tvad Gopura Agra. Again, Gopura is also go, which means you're entering into the cow. Cow is always considered as a very auspicious animal, right, in our culture. So you're entering through the cow into the temple. Gopura. Gopura, go means cow, pura means city. Twadgopuragra shikharani nirikshamanaha. Shikhara is the pin, the peak, the top. Swarga apavarga padavim paramam shrayantaha. Oh Bhagavan, I don't want Swarga, I don't want apavarga, I don't want heaven, I don't want moksha, I just want to be of your service. Paramam shrayantaha. Martya manushya bhuvane matima shrayante. Let my intellect, my mind always be in your service, in thinking about you. Martya bhuvana. He's saying Martya manushya bhuvane, in this world of mortals. In this world of mortals, may I remain immortally in your service. He is making, may I be eternally in your service. Eternally in your service in this world of mortals. Which means I am mortal, I know that, but let my service to you be immortal. Then next one, 21. Shri Bhuminayaka Dayadi Gunamrutabdhe Devadi Deva Jagadeka Sharanyamurte Shriman Ananta Garudadi Bhirarchitangre Shri Venkatachalapate Tava Suprabhatam. So Shri Bhuminayaka, so he is the Lord of Bhudevi. He is the Lord of Bhudevi and Shri Devi, right? So saying Bhudevi Nayaka, Shri Bhumi Nayaka, Dayadi Gunamrutabdhe. You are the ocean of compassion, ocean of all virtues. Amrutabdhe, nectar, ocean of nectar. You're an ocean of nectar means your virtues or your qualities are so pleasing, and your compassion is so. See, it's compassion is a very it's an interesting virtue. It's an interesting term also when we look at compassion, because a lot of times we do not know the difference, or we are unable to articulate the difference even within ourselves between compassion and feeling pity for somebody, right? Or we think doing for somebody ஐயோ பாவம் நினைச்சுன்னு பண்றது is compassion, right? Now those are important things. As human beings, you help each other out. But compassion as a virtue is very there is lack of attachment in compassion. When there is real compassion, there is no attachment to the individual or the act that you're doing out of compassion. It is coming from a place within, and you're compelled to act because it's coming from a place within to do the right thing at that point in time, irrespective of who it is done towards and what is the result going to be and how it's going to work out. So it's important to look at compassion, that compassion is not showing your privilege over others. This is very important to understand, right? We typically, because I'm in a better position and I can do for somebody, I do it, is not necessarily compassion. It gives you a privilege to do, and it's a way of giving back to society. We give back to society in several different ways, right? And one of the ways is we feel strongly that we want to give back to society because we are in a privileged position. But the important thing of compassion is to, even though in situations where we are not privileged, is it possible to do so? So it's like so the example they say, right, is somebody who's a millionaire is able to give away 1,000 rupees, or somebody who earns 1,000 rupees as wages each day is giving away 1,000 rupees. Now, which is greater? 1,000 rupees in value is equal, but somebody who's got 1,000,000 giving away 1,000 is hardly it doesn't cause any impact. But the one who's making a wage of 1,000 per day, giving away 1,000 is giving away a wage of a day, right? Now, giving is essentially a way you express compassion that rises in the heart, but not necessarily always that giving needs to be an expression of compassion. Compassion, when it rises, we also sometimes can also just send out a prayer. So why we are talking about compassion is because when he says gunabdhi dayadi gunamrutabdhe, daya adi, there are virtues like daya, etc. And these virtues, these gunas, you are the amrita abdhe. Amrita abdhe is your nectar of, you're an ocean of nectar, which means these qualities are in the right measure that is pleasant in you. A lot of times we also need to understand that something we feel we are doing a good thing, it can actually not be pleasant. It can be ugly. I don't know if you get this. A lot of times when we go and say, now unakku nalladhu pandren, you don't understand what is the right thing for you. Now unakku nalladhu pandren, it can turn out to be ugly in many cases. Although we think that from within our heart there is love, there is compassion, there is this, that, and the other, and we are trying to push it on the other. A, because we think we are in some way superior. B, we think we are privileged. We don't think we are privileged a lot of times, but we think the other person is underprivileged. You see the play that happens here. The moment you think the other person are underprivileged, it means you're putting yourself in position into a position of privilege, and then you're acting from there. And when we act from that position, you're ought to make it ugly. So the Amritabdhe is important because it is something that comes from a place of, I know even I am a servant of God. I am, what I have is, so there is a, there, Neveli Santana Gopalan, his name, his house flat name is Perumal Pichai. See, his named his flat is Perumal Pichai. The house also that I've received is the arm. Periyava Pichai. So it's like the arm that I have received in begging from the Lord. So Periva pota pichele na kadachide. It is like an arm that I have received, like a bhiksha that I have received. So if that bhavana that we if we engage in that bhavana, then the way we interact with the world will not, it will, you will realize that it doesn't, they will not feel that this person is doing because he's in a privileged position, right? So when we say dayadi gunamritabdhe, it is important to recognize that when we establish compassion, or rather we express compassion, we shouldn't think that I'm compassionate. These virtues, we should not feel that I have these virtues. It is for somebody to recognize that virtue in us and probably say, oh, this person is so and so. But in our own self, it should not be recognized as a virtue. So yeah, Kalpaka is saying compassion is all encompassing in the true sense of the word. There is neither pride nor prejudice. Correct. There is no judgment there. So he's saying Shri Bhuminayaka Dayadi Gunamritabdhe. So you're a nectar or an ocean of virtues like compassion. Devadi Deva Jagad Eka Sharanyamurte. You are the Lord of all lords. Adi Deva, you're above all lords. Jagat Eka Sharanyamurte. You are the only one who is able to give solace or asylum. Jagat Eka Sharanyamurte. You are the Murti or the embodiment of Sharanagati, which means you are one to whom I can subject myself in surrender. You alone are that. Why? Because I don't want to subject myself to surrender to the ways of the world. If I subject myself to surrender to the ways of the world, then I'll be beaten up by the ways of the world. I'll remain caught up in this. So I recognize you are Jagat Eka Sharanyamurti. You are alone that. Shriman Ananta, Shrimat Ananta Garudadibhi. Ananta Garudadibhi. So Ananta is the Naga, the Adisesha, Ananta Sesha, and Garuda. So they worship you. These are your main accomplices in a way, right? These are who are always accompanying you in what you do. So Garuda. So when you're stationed, Ananta takes care of you. Anantanag, the Adisesha, is there to support you. When you want to go, Garuda is the one who takes you. So when you're stationed or static, it's Ananta. When you're static, it's Ananta. You yourself in the form of Ananta are there. Ananta. There is the reason why Adisesha is also called Ananta. Adisesha is Adi and Sesha, which means he's at the beginning and he is also that which remains at the end. Adi Sesha. Sesha means that which remains. Adi is at the beginning. So he is there big before everything came into creation, and he is going to remain even after the creation ends. And he is Ananta. He does not, there is no end to him, Ananta. And Garuda is the one that gives you mobility. It is Shakti. It takes you around, Garuda. And both of these are in your service. Architangre, Sri Venkatachalapate, Tava Suprabhatam. Both of them prostrate unto you. Then next one is, he is calling out the various names of Bhagavan. Sri Padmanabha Purushottama Vasudeva Sri Vaikuntha Madhava Janardana Chakrapane. He is Padmanabha. He is one from whom there is a lotus that comes out from the navel. Padmanabha. Purushottama. You are the one who is the Uttama Purusha. You are the amongst all men. By Purusha, it doesn't mean men. It means all beings. Amongst all beings, you are the Uttama. Okay. Vasudeva. You are Vasudeva's Suta, the son of Vasudeva. Vasudeva. Vaikuntha. You are the abode itself. So where Vishnu or Narayana lives is Vaikuntha, and he himself is Vaikuntha. See, when you are attaining, there is another Vedic Vakya says Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati, which means the one who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. The one who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. There is nothing called I know Brahman as an object. I know Brahman, so Brahman is separate as an object. No, I become Brahman. I become that. So when I attain to Vishnu, Narayana, I attain to Vaikuntha. When I attain to Vaikuntha, I attain to Narayana. Why? Because Narayana is Vaikuntha. The abode where Narayana lives is Narayana himself. Salokya. It's called Salokya. There are 4 types of moksha. Sarupya, Samipya, Sarupya, Salokya, and Sayujya. Salokya is when you go into the loka where Narayana is, that is Narayana itself. The loka itself is Narayana. There is nothing different. There is no more further aspiration there to attain anything else. Right? So he says, you are also Vaikuntha, Madhava. So you are the one who killed the Madhu Kaitaba. So you are Madhava. Janardana. So Janardana is an interesting name. Janardana actually means Jana Ardana, the one who likes to make people, to inflict pain on people. Actual meaning of the word is that Janardana. Janardana means you like to inflict pain on people, means it is not, he is not joyfully inflicting pain on people. It means he gives your karma phala. He is a karma phala data. He gives you your results of your karma, and if it is sufficiently painful enough, you will call him out. Oh Janardana. You look up to him, you look to him when there's enough infliction, and then you look to him for solace. You look to him for liberation from this painful existence. Janardana. Chakrapane, the one who's holding the Sudarshana Chakra in his hands. In his interestingly, my brother's name is Janardana and my name is Sudarshana. So there is Janardana and Sudarshana coming together in this shloka. Janardana Chakrapane. Srivatsa Chinha Sharanagata Parijata. Srivatsa Chinha. He's got the Srivatsa in his chest. The symbol of Shri. In a mark of Shri he or Lakshmi is in his chest, but in Sharanagata Parijata. So you are the one, you're the wish fulfilling tree, Parijata, of Sharanagati. So which means whoever comes to you in the attitude of surrender, you fulfill their wish of being the bhava of dasatva. The dasatva bhava you inculcate. If I go with a certain a little bit of, like today I was hearing, if you take one step towards Krishna, he takes 10 steps towards you. What it means is, this feeling we generate a little bit in devotion, there is an automatic reciprocation to increase this feeling or this bhava of dasatva. So the dasatva bhava we generate, we take the attempt, we take the willful, we make volition in terms of wanting to be a dasa or a devotee. Then what is the reciprocation? A reciprocation from Bhagavan? It multiplies. So he becomes the Sharanagata Parijata, the wish fulfilling tree. Sri Venkatachalapate Tava Suprabhatam. Right? So we saw 3 verses today. Padgopuragra Shikharani Nirikshamanaha Swarga Apavarga Padavim Paramam Shrayantaha. Let me just quickly share the screen and we'll close today. So we saw Twadgopuragra Shikarani Nirikshamaanaha Swarga Pavarga Padavim Paramam Shrayantah Martya Manushya Bhuvane Matima Shrayante Sri Venkatachalapate Tava Suprabhatam Shri Bhuminayaka Dayadi Gunamrutabde Devadi Deva Jagadeka Sharanyamurte Shriman Ananta Garudadi Bhirarchitangre Shri Venkatachalapate Tava Suprabhatam Shri Padmanabha Purushottama Vasudeva Vaikuntha Madhava Janardana Chakrapani Shri Vatsa Chinha Sharanagata Parijata Shri Venkatachalapate Tava Suprabha Shri Akantaya Kalyana Nidhe Nidhayirthinam Shri Venkata Nivasaya Shri Nivasaya Mangalam Kayena Vacha Manasendriyerva Buddhyatmana Va Pakrite Svabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami Sadashivayeti Samarpayami Jagadambikayeti Samarpayami Satgurunathayeti Samarpayami Hari Om Tatguru Namah Hari Om Hari Om